The number one thing that stands between you and your customer is tension. They may already be suspicious. They're like, oh, you're going to just stick it to them. Oh, you're not going to help them get the money that they need to restore their lives in balance. If you go on a used car lot, have you ever gone to look at cars and they come rushing out to you? Can I help you? You're like, no, 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 just looking, just looking, just looking. We put our hand up so quickly because we feel tension and we don't trust. As long as tension is high, trust and cooperation are low. So yeah, how are you going to raise the trust and cooperation to lower the tension? Because as soon as you get that tension to go down, trust and cooperation go up. It has a complete inverse relationship. And just being aware of that, truly, as solution specialists, one of your number one focuses on giving great customer service is doing everything in your power to reduce tension. Have you seen it done that way before? Tension. Terrible thing, terrible thing. Here's a pyramid for you that actually gives you the evolution of rapport. Anyone who's ever been in sales, no matter what kind of product it might be, can really relate to this, because when we're seeing customers for the first time, or a total stranger that we're trying to make an impact with, they see us as nothing more than a vendor. A vendor is disposable. Anybody can deliver the water and the Cokes, right? You're just a vendor, you're a dime a dozen, I can go down the street and get what I need. But after we start to build trust and cooperation, and we start to build rapport, we're able to get up to the level of consultant, where we're actually giving them some consulting and guidance on what they're doing. We continue to build trust, we graduate to the advisor level. And once you get up to the advisor level and people are really trusting you, it creates relationship. I had an amazing 16-year career in real estate in Tallahassee. By the time that I left, I didn't prospect for business. I had created so many relationships, it was a complete referral business with generations of parents and grandparents and kids and families that I would take care of after that many years. If one of your major goals in giving great customer service is to build relationship, it's like what Jim Cathcart said in relationship selling, where your relationship transcends the transaction. That fellow that came to my parents' house after Hurricane Kate in 1985, he was with USAA. He was our family's hero, and he stayed in touch, and it created a relationship because we trusted him. And he took a very stressful, tense situation and got positive outcomes from it. So, for making a positive impact, taking it to the next level, we're just going to review quickly several P's of doing so. Number one is to have passion. Can you tell that I'm passionate about being up here?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to pay Dawn for letting me come. Thank you, Dawn. I love it. Passion is what you feel when you get a glimpse of your potential. Passion is what you feel when you get a glimpse of your potential. Think of the times in your life when you have felt the most expanded, the biggest positive ones, and the most passionate. You could pretty much accomplish anything. It doesn't matter what the obstacles are because you are so focused and you are so committed to making that goal happen. Unless you love what you're doing, you're never going to reach the peak of your potential in your business. People that only show up to work at a paycheck and don't apply passion, do you think they're ever going to be star pupils in their positions? Not really. Because when people are not passionate about their business, do you think anybody else is going to be? If you don't trust the process, do you think your customer is going to trust you? If you don't believe that you're really making a difference to help save lives and give them positive outcomes, do you think that they're going to want to turn their family's life over to your hands? Passion is absolutely the fuel that keeps you going, and it is contagious. People know when you are passionate. Number two is to choose your attitude. You have the ability every single day to get up and choose what you're going to be acting like, how you're going to be feeling, and stop blaming other people for why your life isn't working because you got three fingers pointing back. A few years ago when I got cancer the first time, I didn't know yet what the outcome was going to be. And thank God it was basal cell. But on that terrible day, guess where the cancer was? Smack dab, right in center, above my forehead, right there, the crown of my head. Great. Why couldn't it be here or there? And the day came that my surgeon had to take out the cancer and took a scoop of flesh, right? And so I have a permanent bald spot, and like a little old man, I have to spray my hair over to hide it. So The day came, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have a big bald spot right here for the whole world to see. That's all they're going to see. It was horrible. I was so sad. And I thought, okay, I'm going to either have a breakthrough or a breakdown. Write that down, please. Breakthrough or breakdown. When challenging situations happen, you get to choose it just like you choose your attitude. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to have a breakdown because I can't do anything about it. I choose to have a breakthrough. And so when she took that flesh out of my scalp and she pulled my skin back and stitched it, I said, yes, I got a free facelift. Yes! That was a big shift in attitude, wasn't it? You have pretty much every opportunity to find gifts in the pain. Even the worst things that have ever happened in your life. People have died. People have betrayed you. You may have lost a job. You may have lost your financial security. Terrible things. You look back and you're like, wow, look what I learned because of it. And yes, my dad was an alcoholic ass. Thank you, Dad, for being so awful. Because you made me exactly who I am, and it made me try harder. Look at the people that have hurt you in the past. What have you learned as a result of it? When you start to give gratitude, even for the tough stuff, you'll realize you're a better person on your soul path because of it. So choose your attitude. Next is your pearly whites. Okay, everybody smile at me. Yeah, Just by smiling, you've had a positive one experience just now, haven't you? Just for an instant in that moment. It starts to change your physiology to expand you. Just imagine what it does for me to see all those smiles. Yes, score. Is that your pearly whites are your most fabulous business accessory. They're the best calling card that you can have as long as it's sincere and it's authentic. Do you remember the Fonz? Yeah. He was the icon of cool back in the 1970s and 80s from the TV show Happy Days. He was the man. Loved Fonzie, Arthur Fonzarelli. In real life, though, he was Henry Winkler. And Henry Winkler had a date night with his family one weekend, and he took his wife and his children out to the movies. And you know how when the movie ends, everybody stands up and they file out in front of you and you wait till it's your turn? Well, this was happening on that particular night. And as, you know, Henry Winkler's standing there, he sees an 11-year-old child. He makes eye contact with this 11-year-old child, and he smiled. All he did was smile. And the kid screams, Fonzie! And the kid's mother faints flat on the floor. And Henry Winkler rushes over to her and says, ma'am, are you okay? What happened? What happened? When she came to, she said, my son is autistic. That's the first word he's ever spoken. You never know the impact you're going to make when you smile at someone. You never know how you can change a life and save a life by a random act of kindness. All of you get put into situations with catastrophes and crises and tragedies and traumas when people are sometimes going through the worst thing they can go through. Are you reducing tension by simply just smiling? Giving a helping hand and being kind and compassionate? Talk about great customer service. Don't forget your pearly whites. Being prompt. Anytime you are late, you are showing disrespect. My brother-in-law is very disrespectful. When we have any kind of a family dinner, family gathering, we tell him that the time is actually an hour earlier than it really is. Do you have relatives like this? Oh yeah. That you truly have to mess with them because you know, no matter what, they're always going to be late. But in a professional setting, especially if someone is scared, they're in pain, or they are in doubt and already not trusting, when you're late, it just feeds the tension. That is a great way to start building trust quickly. Be personable and friendly. Duh, McFly. That's easy. That goes without saying, doesn't it? And being polite and patient. Patience is really, really valuable. We're going to get into that with positive communications shortly. And also to be prepared, because the more prepared you are, the more confidence that it's going to give them that you know what you're talking about and that you're coming from a position of strength. And when their world is washing out from under them, no pun intended, they need some solid footing to stand on. And your preparation helps give them that foundation to start to rebuild with, doesn't it? Being fully present and engaged. Just for that instant, Henry Winkler was fully engaged. And there are ways that we engage with people. We give them eye contact. We listen to what they're saying. We're truly interested in what they have to say. But how many of you have been talking to a person in the past 2 years, in the middle of a conversation, they'll get a text and they'll start texting somebody? Or you're in the middle of a conversation and their phone rings and they say, oh, excuse me. You feel so unimportant and so shafted, don't you? Are you fully present and fully engaged? People are so unengaged today because the distractions are maddening. The 150 emails that they have to answer, taking care of customers, phones ringing off the hook. Yes, it can be very stressful, but if you want to make a great impression, truly being present in the moment and not worrying about what you're going to do 2 hours from now is a great step. Poise and posture. Are you walking with confidence, strength, vitality, ability in an expanded way, or are you contracting? Because if you show doubt, they will doubt you. If you show confidence, they will feel faith in your confidence. On your handouts, I've got a lot more written than what I'm saying because I want you to have that as a tool later after our training's over. Also, how are you delivering your presentation? It used to be, in the medieval days, when the messenger would deliver bad news, they'd kill him. Isn't that sad? Aren't you glad it's changed? Yeah, because your presentation says everything about what the next steps are. And so being very mindful of how you deliver your presentation will help you reach your objectives. Also, your personal self-esteem. Do you see this picture? How do you see yourself? Because if you don't feel self-respect, other people aren't going to respect you. If you don't like you, they may not like you. But if you're coming from a heart of service, you're living with integrity, you're in alignment with your values, and you're truly coming from that me position of being in service to other people, your personal self-esteem shines so bright that they do have a positive experience in doing business with you. A person's name is the sweetest sound in any language. Using their name repeatedly is huge, absolutely huge. It really connects us, doesn't it, Dawn? Didn't that make you feel special just now? Using it throughout a conversation. Now, I am a Tallahassee lassie, true total Southerner. And as a Southerner, it's common to say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, thank you, please, no, yes, all the ma'ams and the sirs, and call adults by Mr. and Mrs. Generationally, that's changing greatly. 8-year-olds expect to call adults by their first name. And I prefer, in a professional setting, and I'm sure you do too, when you show them the dignity and the grace, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Jones, thank you so much, until they tell you otherwise, using that person's first name certainly does help build rapport. And also shifting your perspective. Those of you in the back, I don't know if you can see it, but it says, before you judge someone, walk a mile in his shoes. And it shows this poor man that has soda bottles that have been crushed and tied to his feet for his shoes. By showing empathy and really going to where they are, it enables you to give better service, doesn't it? Because it connects you on their level of being able to truly connect with where their emotions are. Wally! And phone etiquette. Because what you're feeling, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the customer, is completely conveyed through the telephone. When you have appointments that you're making, you're calling people, negotiating claims, whatever it may be, your phone etiquette is critical to building the trust that we're seeking. And also to perform, provide, and follow up. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Do you know that the number one thing that makes businesses fail is lack of follow-up? Your fortune is in your follow-up because people absolutely want to feel valuable. A few years ago, I was the Northwest Florida Agency Manager for Fidelity National Title. I covered from Perdido Key all the way over to Apalachicola. And my clients were attorneys, law firms, title companies, real estate developers and such, because I would do the underwriting for real estate closings. And there was this kingpin of title closings named Falcon Sellers. He wouldn't mind me saying this. And he owned lawyer's title. He had like 9 offices, and every month he was producing multi-millions of dollars in business. Do you think I wanted him as my client? Oh yeah. But he was happy with his current underwriter, darn it. And so I started giving service beyond self. I started doing things that nobody else was doing. I was offering to train his staff. I would take him lunch and do lunch and learn series. Finally, the day came when he said, okay, Susan, I'll talk to you about underwriting. And I said, yes, yes. So I got in there and I gave my great presentation with total confidence and compassion about how we were different than our competitors and why he needed to do business with us. And I went home that afternoon from Pensacola back over to Niceville. I called my boss and I said, may I have your permission to spend about $80 on a brand new pair of shoes for Falcon? He said, brand new pair of shoes, why? I said, because I really have a great idea to help land this account. This was a big account. And so, sure enough, I went to Bell's and I picked out this beautiful pair of brown leather glove leather tassel loafers. Not sofas, loafers. And I took the first shoe and I gift wrapped it. And I put a personal note in the box that said, thank you so much for letting me get my foot in the door. And I Federal Expressed it. So I went to him the next day after the appointment. Do you think he was shocked? It's like, what the heck? Of course, I'd asked his wife for his shoe size. And so about 2 days later, I took the other shoe and I gift wrapped it and put a note in the box and it said, you were wondering when the next shoe was going to drop, weren't you? He was so entertained, he signed the account with me. He was so amazed. But when I went to get all the contracts signed, he said, I'm going to agree to do business with you under one condition. One condition. And I said, what? He said, never go away. His experience had been that people promise the world, but they don't deliver. They sign the business and they don't follow up. And so when you make your promises, perform and follow up, and you will build those relationships and climb that wonderful pyramid of building the ultimate rapport.